I did domestic violence and men and how it's overlooked in society. Men are nervous or don't want to come out and say that they're getting abused in a relationship or in anything that domestic violence can be involved with. Um, a lot of men are just shut it off, where women are more emotional and things like that get to them. It's harder to deal with. Jay Sagel and L. Robinson state that domestic violence in men is overlooked, and men are less open with coming forward in domestic violence. They rather, like I said, they rather deal with it or just scared or don't want to get ridiculed. There are a lot of different ways men can be just like women or anybody in domestic violence can be. It could be mental, physical. It could be something is somebody hurting somebody you love, animals, anything that's in domestic can be in domestic violence. For example, Joshua Miller, a guy that lived in Los Angeles, his baby's mom had picked up their 2-year-old's guitar and hit him in the back of the head. And when the police got there, he's the one that got taken to jail, because a lot of police officers, as C.B. Smith said, a lot of police officers look at female as the victim and not the one who is dishing out the abuse, because they're less intimidating, less physically, just less physical. So I guess like cops always take the women's side over the man. There are 3 million domestic violent cases in men over a year. That's every 37.8 seconds. I've seen situations where my father and my mom have got into it, and my mom's hitting my dad or throwing stuff at my dad, and he's just trying to calm her down, and she'll call the police and the cop threatens to take him instead of taking her. That kind of supports what C.B. Smith said, because cops always look at the women as the one that's not causing the problem. They're the innocent one. What is domestic violence? It is a person getting physically or mentally abused, or both. More common in women and children, but can happen to men also, or animals. It could be words, action. It can be abuse of something you love, like an animal or somebody you had a kid with, treating your kid wrong when you're not around, stuff like that. Transition. I have informed my audience on what domestic violence is, and now I'm going to inform you on how it started. Domestic violence has been around for probably as long as people have, but it first got a name, domestic violence, put on it in the 70s. That's when they started focusing in on it as a big problem in the United States and other parts of the world. In 2005, they placed the Women's Rights Act for domestic violence, which has helped women drastically in trying to end it, but it's something I don't think you could ever end. Transition. Now we talked about how it started. Let's talk about some changes. How has it changed? Men are getting recognized as victims, to where a lot of times they don't. They are the ones that, usually they're the ones that dish it out, but there's a lot of men that get it dished out on them and it goes unrecognized. As in a woman, it wouldn't. The man will probably get in trouble. For my conclusion, domestic violence is a big problem in the United States and other parts of the world. Domestic violence will always be here. I don't think it's something you can get rid of. It's like racism or any other big issue in America. It's just gonna always be here. A lot of men are scared and embarrassed to come out and open and what's going on, because they're either embarrassed or they just too tough to talk about it and they just want to get through it. But it's definitely getting better as time goes on and getting more focused, and that's all I have. This is my audience. Pam, my classmate Patience, and the uglier brother.